Hi everyone, I'm Todd. Hazel's at work and Leilani's in school. Well, today is a milestone for our Philippine Life. We now have over 300 subscribers, which is quite an accomplishment for a little channel like ours. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers, and now we're well on our way. And so I want to give a special thank you and shout out to all of our subscribers, but especially those who have joined us within the past week or two or three. Specifically, Vera Svetlova, who has her own channel, Ernie's Oleta Paloma, Pinay living in South Texas, Creative Design, who has their own website, Robert Will, John Bishop, Leon Taggart, Guthrie Life, who has his own channel, and Tanouin Philippine Adventure, who has their own YouTube channel. Please check them out, and thank you very much for subscribing. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Today's video is going to be a bit different from our others. This past weekend we went to visit my father, who is 89 and a half years old. And as you may remember from our previous videos, I had mentioned that he was in the Philippines during World War II. And my uncle was also there. He was a pilot who was shot down and killed fighting the Japanese. My father was with the Navy Seabees on the island of Samar, and he helped build the airport there on Samar. And so we were there visiting, and I decided to break out the video camera because he was reminiscing about the war in the Philippines and what he remembers about that. And I thought that would be interesting and valuable to record that and keep that for posterity. No one remembers that the way he does from his own personal experience. You really had to be there in order to see and hear and smell what the war was like. And he was there as a young man. And so let's take a moment and listen to him as he relates his experiences in the Philippines during World War II.
But some images are so vivid that you never forget, I guess. I never forgot.
What images do you remember from your time in the Philippines during the war?
Oh, I remember just about everything. It was interesting. I got an old army blanket out there on the chair where I sleep. And they said, I used to sleep under one of those in Iraq and Afghanistan. Well, in the Philippines, in the jungle, we slept on an army cot, not a bed, bunk or anything. And we slept on top of the because it was too hot to wrap up in it. And we slept fully dressed because, except for shoes, because there was no lights, no electricity, and no flashlights allowed, hardly. And so the Japanese, sometimes, this was in southern Samar, which is right next to Leyte. The Japanese would sneak in at night and cut somebody's throat or steal whatever they could, or both. And so we were ready to jump up at a moment's notice. It was very difficult to go to sleep because you were uneasy all the time. And finally you go to sleep through just pure exhaustion. And remember a lot of other things too, but so anyway, I drove a dump truck. The cab had a canvas top, which was sometimes put down, so you could drive it in the open air. And I remember working on the rock crusher. Yeah.
A forklift?
Hmm.
Were you on a forklift also?
Uh-huh.
Or a bulldozer or
No.
forklift?
I didn't have a bulldozer. Had a shovel with a long handle. There was a lot of them.
You told me once about you were driving some kind of a vehicle and the Japanese were shooting at you from the bushes. What kind of a vehicle was that?
Well, I drove a weapons carrier for the time. That had 6 gears forward because it carried a heavy load. And you start out in a very low gear, and to get it moving down the road, if you had a heavy load, you just keep shifting gears until you got up to the top gear, and then it would only go about 15 miles an hour. But it would haul the load. Yeah, I remember that. And I drove Jeeps several times. I had occasion.
I love Jeeps. I hope I could get one someday.
Well, if you get one 70 years old, it'll be pretty old.
Well, not one of those.
The modern Jeeps are nothing like the old Jeeps.
Yeah.
Nothing like them. I've driven a Jeep, tried to get through a puddle, a mud puddle, and it just kept sinking.
Oh, no.
And so everybody else that was in the Jeep got out and lifted the thing up and pushed it out of the mud hole. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And you used to get a ration of cigarettes, and
yeah, we had a ration of beer and a ration of cigarettes. We had a ration of 2 cartons of cigarettes a week.
Oh my gosh.
And you smoked 1 carton, and the other carton you used to pay for your laundry.
Oh. Who did the laundry?
Filipino woman. Down in a mud hole.
Oh, my.
They do it in the river.
In the river?
Yeah.
Well, they still do it
They
that
do
way
it
in some
the river.
places.
They go like this, by
Yeah,
hand.
that's the way they did it. Yeah. And a couple of Filipino old men standing around guard so we didn't take advantage of the women.
Oh.
Good.
Chaperones.
Chaperones. And what else? But there was no modesty there. I mean, the first day that I had the opportunity to take a shower, I was standing there in my birthday suit, pulling the string. The water was in a tank up above, and it came down on me. And a voice behind me said, "Do your laundry, Joe?" So I turned my head around as far as I could. I made a deal with her over my shoulder. But anyway, that was rather embarrassing for a 17-year-old boy. Well, actually, I was 18 at the time.
Yeah.
Just barely. Even so, I wasn't used to that. So anyway, and the ration of beer, we had 3 cans of beer a day.
Oh.
And it was Schlitz in a green can. And the beer was as new and as green, although I didn't know the difference, as the grass.
Oh, my.
Green beer.
It was, beer.
Green.
Because you couldn't drink the water.
Oh.
Oh.
The water came up. It was, I don't know if you've ever smelled sulfur water down here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was a lot worse than sulfur water down here.
Oh.
And so anyway, we had this ration of three. I never drank beer before in my life, and I grew up in a great beer drinking town. I mean, Brookville, Indiana. They were German. They were German Catholic.
They drank
and they
some
all
beer.
drank beer.
Why was it green, though? I've never heard of green beer except on St. Patrick's
Because
Day.
it was new. In order to be good, beer has to be aged.
Right.
So they tell me. I'm not an expert on beer. But it was okay with me. It was wet. And it was better than nothing to drink, because there were a lot of times we went without anything to drink or eat. But then, like everything else, it passes one way or another.
I had an uncle who was shot down at the Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Yeah, that was her brother.
Mom's brother. Keith was his name?
No, that was her younger brother.
Younger brother. What was
Eugene was her older brother.
Eugene.
They called him Eugene.
And he's the one who was shot down.
He was shot down at in the Leyte Gulf.
Was that a
In
P-38?
Ormoc Bay. He went down in Ormoc Bay.
Oh, that's in Leyte.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
And,
Was he flying a P-38?
yeah,
Oh my.
at the time, he was strafing a Jap ship. And the Battle of Leyte Gulf lasted 24-hour days. Lasted 3 days. We lost 3,000 people in 3 days. And the whole Pacific War, the reason Japan started it was to get control of all the routes to have oil ships, because Japan had no oil. Still hadn't. And so they wanted to ship their oil. That's the reason they attacked Pearl Harbor. That was their first attack. Well, at the battle, see, you see in newsreels pictures of Iwo Jima all the time. That's because that was a horrendous fight, Iwo Jima. But they could take pictures on land. They take pictures of raising the flag on Iwo Jima and all that stuff. But the Battle of Leyte Gulf, well, it was 3,000 people in 3 days. They sunk all of our ships. Japan did. Just about all of them. And the Japanese admiral got off of his sinking ship and got on his last ship that had enough oil for their burners to get him back to Japan, and he advised the emperor to surrender.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching. Please stay tuned as we continue our preparations for the big move to the Philippines. And when we arrive in the Philippines, of course, we'll be making ongoing videos of the places we see and explore. And we hope that you'll be staying with us for the journey. Thanks again for watching Our Philippine Life. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks, and bye-bye.